You have a board of directors, and if going by newspaper advertorials that you did a few days ago, looks like you have some of the heavyweights from the central bank and a lot of top names sitting around the table with you to run this. So what's the mandate of this board? What do they bring? What do they really bring to the table for these very specialized institutions?
Okay, first and foremost, if you see from the profile of the board members, you see that this, like Riley said, well-accomplished, well-experienced people in different areas. They complement each other, while the different skills they bring to the board. That is one. Two, given the fact that this is a specialized institution, we also leverage a lot on their experience. They bring that to bear. And the important thing is, at the end of it all, how do we achieve the mandate of the institution? Like I told you, in those three fronts, how do I alleviate the financing constraints of the MSME sector? That is the drive of the board. That's the focus on the board. And everybody on the board is focused on that. And with the experience from different backgrounds, from development finance institutions to commercial banking and corporate governance. So you see very varied experiences of the different board members. They all bring that to bear to ensure at the end of it all, DBN is able to meet the objectives for setting it up.
Your organization, your DFI, is coming in at a time when the current administration that actually put it on stream, the Buhari's administration, is focused on a grand socio-economic transformation. How much bite do you think the DBN will be able to do within the first 5 years of his lifespan?
Well, we begin to see the impact already. Like I mentioned, we commenced our lending activities in November last year, and we're going to wrap it up. As we sign up more financial institutions for on lending, we're going to have a lot of commercial institutions, and then the objective is to ensure that across the country, access to DBN funding will be quite easy. Secondly, if you look at the economic recovery and growth plan, we key into that in terms of providing the economic diversification, access to finance for MSMEs to ensure that there's economic diversification, and then there's also growth. That is one key area we're also looking at. And with the National Collateral Registry that has come on board, that has also helped DBN to ensure that we're able to address the issue of collateral for the small businesses that are not able to access funds because they can't provide collateral. They're able to use movable assets to be able to access credit from their financial institutions. That is something that is working well with us too. And recently, if you recall, the tax rates have also been reduced for MSMEs from 20 to 15. That we think will also help in getting a lot of them on board. And if you see all the issues about ease of doing business, making it easy for them to be able to start their businesses, register their businesses, and all that, that will come in a way to bring a lot of MSMEs on board to be able to access funding from. So our overall objective is that at the end of, in the next 5 years, we will see a major impact in terms of the number of people, first access to funding from most of these micro and small enterprises that hitherto are not been able to access funding.
You were in South Korea just about 2 weeks ago, where the 2018 annual meetings of the FDB took place, and the focus was on Africa's industrialization. Of course, Nigeria made a very good showing there, and of course, we made there. So, what are your views? What lessons? What are your takeaways from that in terms of how we domesticate some of those conversations on the small and medium enterprises side of things into the Nigerian space?
I think the first lesson is investment in human capital. We have to continue to do that. I think there's a focus on that, and we have to continue to increase in that because you have to have the human capital to be able to drive the business. Secondly, the diversification of the economy, which comes with focusing on these small businesses, because in terms of employment creation and all that, those are the businesses that will be able to create employment. Government will not be able to provide all the employment required, so that's quite key in terms of that. And then thirdly, in terms of collaboration among the different DFIs, we look at different financing needs for development, for industrialization. So the different DFIs have to come together to collaborate at different levels to ensure that they all focus on one thing to ensure that there's industrialization. But the lesson from there is that no country goes through the same process, right? You have to have your own specific roadmap to industrialization. So the fact that Korea went through a particular process does not mean Nigeria must go through the same process. So our industrialization policy will have to also take into consideration the peculiarity of the Nigerian economy.
The final question. How are you collaborating with other DFIs such as the Bank of Industry?
Very much collaborating. Like I mentioned, Bank of Industry is a retail DFI, so we are collaborating, working with them. As a matter of fact, our plans are in the medium to short run, we'll be able to even lend through them because they reach out to end borrowers directly themselves. And other DFIs too, we also collaborate. The approach of DBN is knowing fully well that no financial institution can meet all the needs of that segment. So we are willing to collaborate, and we are going to collaborate with all the other DFIs, commercial banks, microfinance institutions, and other institutions. Our objective is to ensure that we address that financing constraint for that segment.
Tony Okpanachi, the CEO at Development Bank of Nigeria. Thanks for having you on the program today, sparing that early morning hours with us live from Abuja studios. Do enjoy your weekend, and bye for now. Hope to see more of you in the future. It's been a very interesting week. We were all bleeding last week. Then we all came in on Monday, and it looks like a very sweet and rosy week. We've added nearly 1 trillion naira to the equity cap since the week started. If you're watching the market,